And now we're going to talk to Roberto Lovato. He is co-founder of Presente.org and an old friend of the show. Roberto, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, Cenk. I just got word that a friend of mine, Eric Quesada, a great writer and a great fighter for immigrant rights, just passed away in San Francisco. So,
that's terrible news, man.
Yeah.
All right. Our condolences, obviously.
Thank you.
So, Roberto, of course, I wanted to ask you about the Obama administration and those immigrant rights issues that you were just alluding to, that your friend was fighting for. Look, I know you're not satisfied with the Obama administration, but tell our audience why not. What are your main concerns?
Well, the concerns for immigrants right now extend well before the Obama administration in the Bush era, when there were programs created that were kind of extreme and radical, that were kind of on the fringes of our thinking as a country. And now they've become the law of the land. Programs like something called SCOM, better known as Secure Communities, but it has to do securing communities, a program that essentially forces every police officer now in every state and every city to become an agent of immigration and to ask people for their papers, regardless of who you are when you get stopped.
Roberto, can I stop you there for a second?
Yeah.
When did that start? When did that program start?
It started, I believe, in the Bush era.
Okay, and you're saying that the Obama administration has just simply continued it, and if anything, have they increased it? I don't know.
Well, actually, it's not just continue. He promised to fundamentally alter, if not abolish it. Rather than do that, however, what we've gotten is an expansion of ESCOM into now, as of a week from past Friday, about a week and a half ago, they announced that they were mandating what was an optional program for cities and regions and states, making it mandatory. So you can't opt out, as was the case in Massachusetts with Deval Patrick and the citizens of Massachusetts, as was the case in New York, citizens of New York and Governor Mario Cuomo, as was the case in Illinois, as is the case with police chiefs throughout the land who don't want to waste valuable resources chasing down, maids, bus boys, and day laborers. They'd rather be chasing down real criminals. And now President Obama's basically saying that everybody he's deporting is a criminal. And, that's a lie. So it's a combination of expanding a nefarious program that has deported more than 1 million people, and that's several hundreds of thousands of children who watch their families separated and destroyed. That's a lot of terror because, ESCOM is led by ICE and police that are, ICE agents who are heavily armed, and they come in the middle of the night into people's houses and terrorize children, elderly, it doesn't matter. They're just looking for illegals, quote unquote, using that racist language. Now,
Roberto, I take it that President Obama did this partly to burnish his credentials with the right wing, the independents in his mind, that he's tough on immigration, or what they would call illegal immigrants. But do you think it's worked at all? Do you think he's gotten any credit from the right wing or independents for this? So is this a smart strategy in any way, politically at least?
As I've said, I think David Plouffe and Mr. Axelrod and Catherine Archuleta, who were involved in the campaign, should either quit or be fired, just solely based on what their calculations were in trying to win over white independent voters. And let's not even talk about trying to win over Latinos. So they've created for themselves a double bind that they really can't get out of right now. They're trying to please right-wing independent voters with this, with being more Bush than Bush on immigration, and and I don't know how the hell they're trying to think that that President Obama and his operatives are going to come to our neighborhoods, in the lead up to 2012, say, I know we've just raided and terrorized the heck out of your entire communities, and you're reeling, but we're here to change and make a difference. I mean, I don't see any political logic behind it. It's idiotic as a political move. And it's primarily driven by politics, this stuff. I think the folks in Chicago, where we delivered 35,000 petitions last week at the Democratic, on last Tuesday, the people in that office are must be smoking or drinking or doing something rather than really thinking through careful strategy of how to win the Latino vote in particular.
Now, Roberto, obviously, I agree with you. I might not be as fervent in some of those positions as you are, but I certainly agree with the politics simply because now there actually was a small good sign where they said they're basically going to slow down the deportation of 300,000 new people. But I want you to tell us about that in a second, but when you analyze that politically, they're trying to reach out to the Latino community, but it might be too little too late. And what's the right wing going to do? They're going to say, you see that? Obama is catering to illegal immigrants. So all of those deportations that he did before are going to go to political waste, at least, because he's not going to get a shred of credit from right-wing independents on that, right?
Precisely. President Obama has created a fantabulous lose-lose situation for himself in the run-up to 2012. He's not going to gain any independent voters because the extreme right wing of the Bush era that was, somewhat supportive of President Bush and that President Obama was trying to actually win over with his actions, with his policies, and with even some of his rhetoric when he himself starts calling people illegals, which is racist language. So how he expects to win over those independent voters is baffling. And then to try to win over Latinos when you stomp down thousands upon thousands of doors, shove the guns in the faces of so many hundreds of children, separated so many hundreds of thousands of children from their families. And by the way, if you look at, for example, polls of the Latino electorate, Latino voters, 53% of us know somebody who's undocumented. More than half of us. 25%, one of every four of us knows somebody who's been deported. So if you want to lose Latino votes, 1 million Latino votes, deport 1 million Latinos. And that's precisely what President Obama has done.
All right, now let's keep it real. They think that you've got nowhere to go, right? That's the political calculation, at least. So, and it's not like you can vote for Republicans. That part is true. That part is real, right? Because they're only going to make it worse. So, yeah. So Roberto, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I think it's time that some of us realize that we've reached an age where the fusion of the Democratic and Republican parties is reaching its apex. We've reached the point where the funding, the tobacco, the military-industrial dollars, the Exxon oil, and the willingness to turn a blind eye to all of this makes obvious that we're kind of dealing with two heads of the same kind of party that's controlled by these massive corporations. So we've got to realize that. And once you realize that, then you realize, yeah, President Obama has been on immigration, has been a Republican, just like he's been a Republican as far as wars, or in terms of the fact that he's jailed, persecuted, terrorized hundreds of thousands of immigrants every year to the tune of 1 million, and not a single banker has gone to jail for all the devastation that they've caused. Not one.
Let me bring in a couple of Matt Taibbi quotes here, and I'm going to paraphrase, but, because he ties those issues together. He said, they're proposing this tax holiday for corporations, where instead of paying 35% taxes on the money they're bringing in, they'd only pay 5% taxes for the money they have offshore. He's like, imagine if undocumented immigrants did something like that, where they said, hey, you know what? We're going to take hundreds of billions of dollars out of the country, right? And we want President Obama to give us hundreds of billions in tax breaks for undocumented immigrants. Is it conceivable that Obama would? Of course it's not conceivable. In fact, the whole country would be on fire if they did that. But if you do it for the top corporations, not a peep, the Democrats and the Republicans totally agree. And then on a separate issue, but related, Matt Taibbi today wrote about how if President Obama is covering for Bank of America in trying to get rid of Eric Schneiderman, the New York Attorney General, who's trying to hold Bank of America accountable, which it appears they are doing. He said if he's doing that, he would be the most disappointing president of his lifetime. Do you share that sentiment?
That President Obama's covering for Bank of America, that wouldn't surprise me.
No, I'm saying that would you share the sentiment with Taibbi, in regards to your issues, that Obama would be the most disappointing president of your lifetime?
Yeah, I mean, if President Obama, he's already proving to be the most disappointing president to immigrants. I mean, people were expecting John Kennedy, and they got, Ronald Reagan, they got George Bush on steroids on immigration with regards to President Obama.
At this point, wouldn't you want Reagan? Reagan actually gave amnesty. Reagan was a million times more liberal in this sense than Obama.
Yeah, on immigrant, I'm Salvadoran, so, as far as I'm concerned, Ronald Reagan is probably in some dark corner in a very hot place somewhere below the surface. So, I think that on immigration, President Reagan was far better because he actually did, work to get amnesty for people and got it. President Obama mouths a good game about it, but his actions speak louder than his words. His actions have spoken mightily, and people often ask me, "Hey, aren't you creating an opportunity for the Republicans to take the presidency?" I said, no. As far as Latinos go, President Obama is just the gift that keeps on giving to Republicans on immigration.
So what do you do, Roberto? How do you vote? What do you ask? For example, your group, Presente.org, what do you guys do? What's the next step? How do you fight back when you think that the two parties are two sides of the same coin?
Yeah, well, we were fighting this battle against Bush, so we're going to continue doing it against Obama. As far as, this really, really sinister program, ESCOM, that endangers everybody because it wastes police resources, right, on chasing these gardeners and maids. So what we're going to be doing is what we've been doing, is continue the pressure. The changes, the 3% solution that I called it, right, of, get 300,000 out of more than 11 million people, and try to say that you erased the deportation of 1 million people and they're doing nothing for 11 million, but with 300,000, I don't know any PR people that can pull that one off. It's not going to work. So what we're doing is continuing to hold the president accountable in the hopes that, for example, he would abolish ESCOM. I think that if President Obama did that and one other thing, I think he might actually be able to have people give him a second thought among Latinos. The other thing is that he and his members of administration would stop, lying, and I do mean lying, because in people like Cecilia Munoz, his top aide on immigration, have taken to repeating these lies about most of the people of the 1 million that they're deporting. They're saying that most of the people being deported are criminals. That's a fabrication, if ever there was one. Their own Department of Homeland Security statistics show that the majority of people that are being deported have no criminal record and that they're being picked up because of traffic violations, drunk driving or something, nothing that's a felony. And so if President Obama could really step up and stop repeating these lies, and if he would abolish ESCOM, I think that he might be able to pull through with the Latino vote, and we'll have to negotiate after he's reelected. But if he doesn't do these things, I think his numbers are showing that he's down to 39%. There's a recent poll.
Actually today the new poll came out. He's down to 38% and dropping.
So Latinos have we've proven ourselves to be a very dynamic and increasingly powerful. We're not reaching the full power of our numbers yet, but we will. And we're very animated. You see the animation in the streets when we have simultaneous mobilizations like on the Democratic Party, or if we have simultaneous mobilizations of millions of people across the United States. We are very engaged and political people. All you got to do is kind of lead us. And you saw that in the 2008 election where in Nevada, in Colorado, New Mexico, Florida, and other states, Latinos played a definitive role. You could say some people like to say that we handed him the election, but I don't know. I think the electorate's a little more made up of a lot of different groups and but Latinos surely were part of the magic formula for the Obama election of a historic election. So
Right. Roberto, let me ask you one last question. So if, obviously you're incredibly frustrated, but when you talk to other Latino group leaders, as I suspect you talk to them from time to time, do they, I mean, to what degree do they share your frustration? I mean, you're clearly among the most frustrated, but are there some that are saying, no, we think he'll be better in his second term, et cetera, or is everybody totally fed up?
Well, Cenk, on immigration, you recall, and you kind of pointed that out before. I used to be on the margins and on the fringe as far as my opinions about President Obama and immigration. You remember in previous interviews. That applies within the Latino community and the Latino leadership. But I can tell you right now, I am no longer alone. The majority is now where I have been and continue to be, not trusting President Obama to do the right thing on immigration. So it's shown by the polls. Majority of Latinos, according to Latino Decisions poll taken in June of this year, said that they thought President Obama was failing us on immigration. And that immigration, they also said that immigration was the #1 issue of concern to those voters who know somebody who's undocumented, and 1/4 of whom know somebody who's been deported. So I'm no longer alone in the Latino electorate's getting increasingly frustrated, but I'm not just angry or frustrated. I'm very inspired because at the end of the day, it's going to be we ourselves taking matters into our own hands to move our destiny and the destiny of the United States in a direction that's more favorable to us. And that is partly an electoral issue, and it's partly an issue of going into the streets. And so President Obama, in a way, could be a blessing as far as the United States when we suddenly see that, electing Republican or Democrats doesn't matter. We need to take, extra electoral, kind of approaches to social change in the United States because there's so much at stake now. And the Republicans and the Democrats have failed us.
Yeah, I hear you. That's an interesting way of putting it, and I hadn't quite thought about it that way before. A lot of people think that Obama not delivering on all these promises, whether it's immigration issues or all the other issues, was so dispiriting. But in some ways, maybe the upside is we finally see the ruse of the Democratic and Republican parties definitively, and that we get our head out of that, two-sided game and get into the reality of taking on both parties and the overwhelming corporate power that has seized both parties. So
yeah, I mean, remember George Bush? We were animated and fired up when we realized that he had won 2 elections and it was anti-democratic and it was a sham, and we pushed him out into the abyss where he belonged. Now, we thought that President Obama was going to be the solution. And I think with the failure of the Obama project and of President Obama on immigration and all these other issues, that means that we have no choice but to look at ourselves and say, damn, it's us or nothing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that part anymore. No question about that. We got to take it upon ourselves. And there's no question Roberto Lovato does that. He's co-founder of Presente.org. Thank you so much for joining us today, Roberto. We really appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
All right, take care.